can everybody hear me? I'm not a big fan of microphones. I feel like it gives me something to do with my hands and then I get distracted, so I'm gonna not do that for now. So thank you all for coming. I'm very excited to be here. This is my second year speaking at Innovation Summit, and it is always a fabulous event. I'm a little biased because I work for Hype too, but that's not the point. So my name is Kim. I head up talent acquisition here at Hype 2. If you are attending this event and you say, wow, these people that work at Hype 2 are so fabulous, you're welcome. So I am here today to talk about how to hire and retain an AI-ready workforce. All right? We're going to have some interactive elements to it. We're going to use a couple volunteers as well, so don't worry, you're not just going to be sitting here, whatever, and then we're going to close this session out, and then we can all head over to Santa Mercado and get some drinks. So, all right, let's start off. How many people in this room, by a show of hands, have applied for a job online in the last year? Side note, if you are a Hype 2 employee, do not raise your hand. If it's true. You don't want to do that. Okay, so there's quite a number of it. So that's going to beg the question. There's been a lot going on this year in terms of companies doing massive layoffs, a lot of people looking for jobs. So it kind of begs the question, are you AI ready? Okay, and what does that even mean? Like, I'm cringing as I say that. What does it mean to be AI ready? So in a world of tech jobs, what is an AI ready candidate even look like? Right? What is it that we are looking for? And if you are AI ready and you land a job, well then how do you stay on top of it, right? That's a big part as well. The truth is, if you want to recruit and build an AI ready workforce, we need to focus on hiring individuals with relevant skills. We need to utilize AI-powered recruitment tools. We need to provide ongoing training to upskill our existing employees. We also need to emphasize critical thinking, adaptability, and the ability to collaborate with AI systems. Right? So these are all the things we're going to talk about. Now, I have slides, but I'm not sure how much we're really going to use these today. It's more of an interactive presentation, so we're going to talk through it a little bit. So the first thing I want to tell you is, unfortunately, building an AI-ready workforce is not an overnight initiative, all right? It's not something you can just come into a company and decide that that's what you're going to do. It's a transformative force, and it's going to take buy-in at all levels of the organization. What does that mean? That means everybody, from the interns all the way up to the CEO, everybody has to be on the same page, because it only takes one person to say, oh, this new system, I don't like it. I don't like it, I'm not familiar with it, I don't want to use it. And then it kind of just spreads. And then some other people, so this person isn't using it, well now these people can't use it because it's all tied together. And the next thing you know, the system, this wonderful AI system that you're trying to implement, is down the drain. So what are our key strategies that we want to focus on today? All right, it's all good. See, this is good. This is when technology. All right, so thank you, Jean. All right, so what we want to focus on is job postings, AI soft skills, upskilling, and how to create an AI-friendly workforce. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing is, we need to identify necessary skills, right? You've got to decide what it is that people want to do. You have to get people to buy in using AI recruitment tools. That's a big one as well. When you interview candidates, you need to focus on soft skills, right? AI, right now, I will tell you as someone who has sent thousands of resumes, there is a trend right now, I'm sure you've all heard it, right? Which is people go through a job posting, they pull out what they feel like are kind of the keywords in the posting, and they stick them in their resume. And what happens is then when you apply to a company that uses AI in recruiting, it will pull those resumes, right? Because it will say, oh, well, these match the same words that we're looking for. Unfortunately, most companies, for example, like a Hype 2, right, we're still using actual in-person recruiters. So what happens is you still have to get past the second phase, right? Which is an actual person who is going to look at your resume and is going to determine if you're a fit for the company. And that's where the soft skills come in. And after that, we need to make sure when we bring in employees into an organization that we are focusing on developing an AI literacy program, that we have people who are working towards always kind of bringing in new AI tools, whether it's working on the basics of AI or bringing it all the way up to the higher levels of the organization. So let's start at the beginning, okay? You want to hire an AI-ready workforce. What's the very first thing as a company you have to do to get candidates? What do you have to do? Anyway. Job posting. Very good. You have to post a job. According to the Future of Work report, the share of job postings online that reference ChatGPT or related skills in the AI space have increased over 200-fold since late 2022. Employers are looking for AI-ready candidates, and that starts with the job postings. Now, anybody who happened to be here last year at Innovation Summit and came to hear my talk, or at Buckeye Dreaming, or at Mile High Dreaming, will know that I gave a talk last year about not letting robots take our jobs, right? And one of the things I talked about was making sure that even if you are using AI to help filter candidates, that you have an actual person who is doing the legwork on that, who is making sure, who's doing interviews, who's making sure that these people possess the other skills they need besides a couple buzzwords in their resume. Everybody knows, right? You apply for a job, you go through the job description, you determine if it's a good fit, you submit your resume. So one of the big things that we look at when we are looking at people's resume, besides how many years they've worked somewhere, besides what skill sets they have, right? One of the things we look at too is when you reach out to a person, how quickly do they respond to you? When you send a note to somebody and you say to them, hey, I'm interested, you submitted your resume, I'm interested to talk to you, how long does it take them to get back to you? Is it someone who's really interested in this job? Is it somebody who is ready and willing to interview with you and talk through the process? So in 2024, a SHRM survey, anybody here know what SHRM stands for? Society for Human Resource Management. I was trying to give my colleague Rebecca a chance to speak up. That's okay. So that 62% of recruiting professionals express optimism about the impact of AI on their work. So once the posting is live, the process is going to begin. AI-based sourcing solutions obviously make it easier for recruiters to connect and locate relevant talent. As everybody knows, Hike 2 does a ton of work in the legal space. We do a lot of work with legal firms. So using an AI-based sourcing tool, for example, we use LinkedIn Recruiter at Hike 2, I'm not only able to search on skill sets, I'm not only able to search on locations, I can also search on previous companies worked at. I can also search on the term law firm and see what kind of candidates come up that have that either in their current or past job. Companies are definitely starting to move more to finding candidates as opposed to just posting a job and letting people apply into it. So if you want to get noticed when you're online, it's very important to make sure LinkedIn is a fabulous tool. You always want to make sure your LinkedIn is updated with the most recent information. What are our new hires? Richard Kang, raise your hand, Richard. Richard, how did you come to Hike 2? I found him on LinkedIn, and I reached out to him, and I sent him a note, and I said, oh, Richard, we have a position, and I think you would be perfect for it. Yes. And now, a month later, here he is. So, see how easy that is? That's all you have to do. So, with a strong foundation in place, employees are able to come into the organization and really be put into roles that are something that they not only know how to do, but something they want to do, something they are excited to do, and they have the skill set to be able to do. So once companies kind of strengthen in their AI foothold, they start to interview, right? And one of the things they talk about with interviewing to get AI-ready candidates is kind of asking AI-ready questions, right? Now, what does that mean? So what I'm going to need right now is we're going to need a volunteer from the audience who wants to potentially do a little mock interview and talk about AI-ready answers. I love it. Come on.
All right.
I love it. Let's give it a chance.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so what do you do?
I'm the CEO of an AI company.
This is not a plan. CEO of an AI company. Wow. So you must know something about interviewing in an AI world.
I don't actually. I'm going to find out if I do.
Okay, that's okay. Are we ready? So let's say you are interviewing for a job. Let's say you're interviewing for a job with type 2. Just to make it easy for everybody here. And let's say somebody says to you, talk to me about a time that you used AI to streamline a process in your current job.
Let's see. Well, it's funny. So, our company streamlines processes using AI. So, I do this a lot, but I'll give you an example. So, I use ChatGPT all the time to organize disparate things that happen. So here's a great example. I would take a transcript from a call that I have recording, and I'll run it through GPT and ask it to prepare me an overview for what happened, and then we feed that into some sort of database, maybe Salesforce, that can remember exactly what happened, and we refer to that later. That's a very practical use of the LLM.
That's one. Everybody give them a hand. Thank you very much. So that's a wonderful answer, because one of the things he did was he answered the question that I was asking, gave a relevant example of something he had worked on. Now it's a little different because he's the CEO of an AI company that literally streamlines AI processes for a living. So it wasn't, it would be a little bit of a different interview structure if he was actually coming in, but my point is that he was able to answer the question with actual real-life examples of what he was doing. Interview styles are moving more in this AI world and hiring an AI-ready workforce. He asked the question, give me an example of a time you used AI. Now, even if you're not the CEO of an AI company, right, which I am certainly not, if someone were to say to me, well, talk to me about a time you used AI to streamline a process, I can say, well, I use ChatGPT to write job descriptions sometimes to help with different job descriptions. That's using AI. I focus on LinkedIn Recruiter to help you do targeted searches to find candidates. That's AI. So now that we know what kind of things we need to be focused on in the AI world and what we're looking for, let's talk about once you actually get in the door. So now, you got the job. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're coming on night 2. This is great. So now you're here, right? So how do we continue, right, how do we continue to upskill our employees? How do we continue? Because as everybody knows, it seems like every single week there is a new release of something coming out, or some new thing, or somebody coming out with a new AI product or something. How do we keep our employees up to date on that? How do we keep them engaged? How do we keep them interested in what it is that we're doing? So who can give me an idea? Raise your hand. What is one way that we can keep people focused on AI? What's one way we can continue to upskill and help people? Incentives. That's an excellent way. Saying to people, hey, if you're able to complete XYZ amount of courses or XYZ amount, we will give you some kind of incentive. That's a great idea. Who else knows the way?
I would go back to your onboarding. Is it part of your onboarding plan? Are you introducing this new hire to your AI hire?
It starts at the beginning. Very, very good. You have to make sure, even in your onboarding with candidates, with new people coming into your organization, that you are stressing to them how important AI is to your organization. And this is going to go back to what we were talking about in terms of having buy-in from all levels of the organization. If it's in the onboarding plan, and it's one thing we talk about, we have a commitment We have a commitment to this. We have a commitment to making sure that within a year you get an AI certification. We have a commitment, we have a plan. All of that immediately goes towards making sure, yes.
Just from like an internal perspective, making sure that you're onboarding or even like a continual education process within your organization, helping employees understand how to increase their own efficiency by using AI. So like internal buying, just by like this helps you and this is how we'll support.
Absolutely, absolutely. Creating tailored AI learning plans, foster more specific learning objectives, role clarity, and also help, AI can also help with that as well, right? Let's say you're doing, Rebecca Kerr is our director of HR, she does onboarding plans for all new hires. If there was an AI tool that could help her, and she met with the person and they said, well, these are the things I want to accomplish, and she could put those into an AI tool, and they could spit out an onboarding plan that she could review, would that make your job easier? That would absolutely make her job easier, right? So that's something as well that AI can help with. We want to make sure that we are tailoring learning. It is not one size fits all. And using AI, we can have very specific things to help each person. So to leverage AI effectively, companies must assess their workforce's current capabilities versus the skills required for future success. So it's important that they do skill analysis, which again, AI can help with, right? You do skill analysis of your current employees and determine what you need to do moving forward that aligns with the business goal. Again, for example, you look at a company like a hypothetically, and they do a lot of work in the legal space, right? So they do a lot of state government work. So if that's where the company is moving towards, and that's where most of our business is, then maybe that's what we need to tailor our learning towards. AI literacy is crucial in any organization. Companies should invest in continuous learning programs, workshops, and seminars to help educate their employees on AI basics. The knowledge empowers employees to embrace AI tools and solutions confidently. It is not one size fits all. Some people do better learning in person in a session like this. Some people hate coming to sessions like this. They want to do everything online. And it's very, very important that you realize that and that companies are able to provide for their employees the environment that works best. So then we talk about integrating AI into workflows for employees. Anytime you're going to introduce a new product, you have to have buy-in. But how do you have buy-in? You need to introduce the workflows gradually. You need to make sure they're inclusive. You need to involve employees in the process and have them help to seek feedback. Companies need to make sure that employees understand not only why they're implementing these tools, but what they're going to help them, right? So who here has an example of a time they were with a company and they decided to implement something and they didn't do a very good job of explaining what it was or why they wanted to do it and what the outcome was? You can make up the name of the company, you don't have to out your current employer. Nobody? Nope, geez, that didn't go very well.
Okay, my previous enterprise,
It was a nightmare. It was because you didn't have a good implementation partner that understood your needs. That understood your needs and created better solutions for you and your company. I'm just saying. But yes, no, that's true, right? Because they came in and they said, well, we're going to implement this customer relationship management system, and everybody at your company was probably like, well, why can't we just use what we have now, right? And then they said, well, we're not going to do that. We're just going to put this in, and everyone said, well, we don't know how to use it. And they said, that's okay, you'll learn. It's easy. You just put in the name of the customer, just add their contact information, and it's fine. And then everyone said, but I don't understand. And I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with this, and I don't know how. And they said, don't worry. Just don't worry about it. You'll be fine, right? And then the next thing you know, people were like, this is terrible, and we don't like it, and we don't want to use it. And then you don't have adoption, right? So that's a huge focus as well. So I think the bottom line of all of this, right, comes down to a very simple principle, right? And it comes down to the fact that AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. I think there was a time, maybe a couple years ago, right, where people thought it was a fad, where people would say like, oh, well, I mean, everyone's AI, it's not the, but it's not going anywhere. It's going to stay here. So if you want to work in this space, you have to get AI ready, right? It's extremely important. So the point is, how do you do that? You use these simple tasks. And once you get to an organization, you make sure as well, when you're interviewing, that you're asking them questions.